Today we're going to try out Ryanair versus Easyjet to see which one is better. Let's go.
That's right, we're comparing the flight experience with the two biggest airlines of Europe. Ryanair versus Easyjet. Both are known for offering low fares, lots of upcharges, and minimal service. We always wondered if one of them is actually better than the other, and in this video we're about to find out. We are also about to have an unbelievable streak of luck and a bit of a fail. We're starting this comparison adventure by flying from Eindhoven Airport to Manchester with Ryanair, and after a quick city break we'll return with Easyjet to Amsterdam. The Ryanair flight experience starts before you even enter the airport, as you have to check in online at least 2 hours before departure. If you fail to do so, you have to pay a €55 check-in fee per person for check-in at the airport. You also have to present your boarding pass digitally on your phone, as Ryanair no longer accepts paper boarding passes unless you're traveling from a country where mobile boarding passes are not accepted, or if you don't own a phone. In either case, you still have to check in online before they give you a boarding pass. We chose to travel with the free luggage option only, which means that you're allowed one bag with maximum dimensions of 40 by 30 by 20 centimeters, and it must fit in the upper part of this baggage sizer. If you show up to the gate and it doesn't fit, you'll be charged a whopping €60 during boarding. With check-in done online and no luggage to drop off, we made our way to the gate, ready for our flight.
We started the dreaded line of Ryanair. We didn't book priority because we wanted the cheapest, absolute cheapest ticket. And now the waiting game starts.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have to wait outside because that's always the thing they have in Ryanair. They open the flight up a little bit too early, even if the plane is not there, and then you have to wait outside in the cold. So let's see if that happens.
Spoiler alert, it did.
Oh my god! A quick update, we are still walking, and there's the plane, and there's Laura. So we decided to skip priority boarding. We're just standing in front of the line, and we're almost just as fast, but without paying. So that's a win for us. Okay, after this very exercising walk, we almost made it to the plane. It's clear that Ryanair cares for our health.
So yes, we made it to the end of the line, and in the end it took a total of 8 minutes and 54 seconds before the actual boarding of the plane began.
Honestly, a lot quicker than I expected.
So here we are, boarding the Boeing 737-800, and we were seated in seats 29A and 29B. And yes, we paid to sit together, because otherwise you'll definitely be put in different seats across the plane. The legroom is pretty standard for economy short-haul flights and is around 76 centimeters. Fun fact, the feet space in front of the middle seat is actually much larger than the space you have if you're sitting in a window or an aisle seat. As for the seat's features, above you there are individual lights and blowers, and in front of you there's a fold-out table plus the safety information, which comes in the form of a sticker. Right next to the safety information, you'll find a QR code that leads you to the in-flight menu and magazine on the app. On here you can pre-order drinks and food before the meal service starts, which is pretty handy for short flights, but to make use of it, you do need to have the app installed. Back to the seats and its features, reclining your seat is not possible, but at least the armrest goes up. We do actually enjoy it that the seat doesn't recline on these short flights, since your limited leg space won't be limited any further by the person sitting in front of you.
And they said it was a full flight, but we hit the holy grail of flying. That means an empty middle seat.
Help us celebrate the free middle seat by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Time for takeoff, and we quickly made our way to the skies. For this review we have to try out the food, of course, and we chose the lasagna, since EasyJet has this on their menu as well. We ordered it on the app before takeoff, and then all we had to do was wait.
I'm very excited. We're about to get our lasagna. So for test number 1, the lasagna for Ryanair.
Now, let's find out if it looks anything like the picture. It does not. Ooh.
Well, this is it.
Overall, the lasagna tasted much better than we expected in the sense that it wasn't terrible, but €8.50 is definitely too much for this very little amount of food. Also, it's not a great choice for a short flight because it needs to cool down before you eat it, as it's very hot. Anyway, before the flight's over, let's have a quick look at the toilets. All in all, it's a pretty standard toilet, it comes with hand soap, and it remained pretty clean during the flight, which is always a win. Now, those 1.5 hours flew by, and after a somewhat bumpy landing, we made it to Manchester. Time for a quick city break before our flight back. Time exploring the city of Manchester, but now it's time to get back to the airport and try out EasyJet for the second flight of this review. And for our flight with EasyJet to Amsterdam, we checked in online as well, which they strongly encourage you to do. Unlike with Ryanair though, there's no fee if you do need to check in at the airport, but they kind of don't want to. The bag situation is pretty similar to Ryanair, and the free bag allowance is slightly more generous. And again, if you show up to the gate and your bag doesn't fit the sizer, you'll be on the hook for £60 or €70. Now let's make our way to the plane for the onboard experience.
Making our way to the gate in a fast tempo because we lounged too hard yet again. D3 is all the way in the back. Very counterintuitive if you ask me. But alright, are we gonna make it?
And we're gonna make it easy, EasyJet-like.
Wow.
And yes, we did make it easily, and boarding even started a little later than planned. But here we are making our way to the plane, and we are on a real jet bridge even, and oh, never mind.
I think we're going outside.
We encountered the same trick as before, and we're not in fact boarding the airplane just yet. This time it took a wait of 6 minutes and 45 seconds before the actual boarding started. And again, if you have priority boarding or speedy boarding as they call it with EasyJet, it doesn't mean that much. Here we are boarding the Airbus A320, and for optimal comparison we paid for the exact same seats, 29A and 29B. Although, of course, the airplane type is different. Unfortunately, the amount of cleaning time that the cleaners got was definitely not enough, as the seats still had crumbs on them and there were some noticeable stains. The leg space with EasyJet is with 74 centimeters, slightly smaller, and the seats also do not recline. You will find an actual seat pocket though, and inside it there's a safety information card and even an in-flight sales magazine with a food menu. The seat also comes with a fold-out table, and above you there's an individual reading light and a blower. And yes, you noticed correctly, somehow got a free seat next to us again. Let's hope we continue this streak on our future flights. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now, it's time for takeoff. With EasyJet, it's not possible to order food on the app, so you'll have to order the old-fashioned way by waiting until the cabin crew comes by.
We're going to be ordering the lasagna, so let's keep our fingers crossed. They have lasagna so we can do a proper test.
Can we order lasagna?
So the lasagna we won't be serving on board just because it's such a short flight.
Okay.
It turns out, EasyJet does not in fact offer lasagna on this flight, because it's too short. So there goes our plan for the grand lasagna test. We do understand it though, and the flight attendant even asked his colleagues if it really wasn't possible, so no hard feelings, and we appreciate the friendliness. We can inform you though that the price of the lasagna would have more or less been the same than on the Ryanair flight, and we can only speculate about the taste. Now let's check out the toilets. This one was pretty clean, also came with hand soap, but it was definitely an even tighter space than usual. Since this is a very short flight, it was already time to land again. So let's enjoy this beautiful landing into Amsterdam Schiphol Airport before we get back to you with the price that we paid and the overall conclusion. So, what did we end up paying for our flight? For our first flight with Ryanair, we paid €46 per ticket and €8 per selected seat. And again, this is for a ticket that only allows a personal item to be brought on board with you. EasyJet was a little more expensive when booking our flight, and we paid about €85 per ticket and €9 for the seat selection. And again, we were only allowed to bring a personal item with us. Overall, there isn't that big of a difference between the two airlines, and we would say that there's no clear winner here. Both are pretty clear that you shouldn't expect too much from them other than getting from point A to B, and with that in mind, their products are both acceptable. Except for the cleanliness here and there and the exorbitant fees that they charge if you do not study their rules carefully. As for the cabin crew, they were really friendly on both flights, so there's no big difference in there either. You can tell though that EasyJet tries to make the experience a little nicer with their onboard design, physical menu / in-flight shopping magazine, and the not charging for failing to check in online. However, they do generally tend to be priced a bit higher than Ryanair, and you can ask yourself if these minimal so-called extras are worth a higher fare. Also, Ryanair might as well put stickers on their seats saying thanks for your money and we know we'll see you again, because let's face it, along with EasyJet, they've made many European destinations more accessible to millions of travelers, and if the fares remain low, people will always continue jumping through their many hoops. So, which airline should we review next? Let us know in the comments below. We want to thank you so much for watching. Bye!